They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're asking for, who are meeting the moment.
Yes, the left just exudes energy.
Yo, this is the Ranking Rizzler on Appropriations, serving Connecticut's 3rd District.
Greetings, fellow youths. It's just your average hip and cool progressive here doing hip and cool things.
We are not chasing the bag, we are the bag.
Old bag? Old bag who?
Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper!
See how normal and relatable I'm being? I'm just like you. Like other humans, I enjoy things. Like music.
I've always loved music. He just released his curated playlist. The artists represent a wide range of genres and time periods.
Yes, to prove it, he's curated tons of songs on the iPod from rad musicians like
Kylie Minogue
and Billie Eilish and that Beyonce.
All the single ladies.
You can tell he's really down with that Regi.
Reggae legend Bob Marley.
He's practically a Rastafarian.
Oh, did I tell you about the new friends I made? I made friends with a whole table of Rastafari.
You're watching Woke of the Week with MRC-TV and Culture. I'm your super relatable host, Justine Brooke Murray.
Democrats understood the assignment.
Sure, if your assignment was to repel as many people as possible in record numbers, or if your goal was to be so out of touch that your own media mouthpieces can't pretend you're cool anymore. Can you guess? Just take a few wild guesses why people have just had enough of the hip-hop party of tolerance. How did the party of sex, drugs, and rock and roll go from a movement defined by free thinkers rebelling from the oppressive status quo to the outdated and shackled status quo young Americans are desperately trying to break free of? To ask that, you must ask how an ideology dressed up as free-spirited and open-minded quickly revealed itself as a wave of authoritarianism that threatens anyone who utters a peep questioning it with their jobs and livelihoods. How did being a screeching progressive go from being a cultural phenomenon endorsed by Hollywood and every pop star to the point not even an A-list lineup? Totally not paid for by their presidential campaign, could convince the plebs to pick a candidate as likable as they are.
I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx.
Running up and down the block.
She's from the block. Enough about the block.
How did their party's leaders go from being the Elvises of politics, the womanizers,
I got a crush on Obama,
the Nelson Mandelas worshipped by children everywhere? Whether they were forced to do that or not, to ranking tied at the bottom of the Spit list with the two-dimensional ghetto cliche.
Somebody slap me and wake me the f*** up.
Even though that character is just an outdated phony act performed by a politician just as sheltered as the rest of the People's Party.
And I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want.
So how did their abundant options for leaders leave them with the tough competition between their dipwit understudy that burdened their party last time?
I ask you to remember that this struggle is not new.
And a spastic dipwit who breaks the record for being the
least knowledgeable,
but remains the most confidently loud-mouthed out of an entire movement of developmentally arrested adults.
People love AOC. People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell.
Yes, that's why they're coming out to cheer them on at a whopping 10% tops in support.
They're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
You do love me. You do love me. You just don't know it yet. That's a typical attitude coming from a movement rooted in an ideology that believes other people know what's best for the rest of us. Like the obsessive personality of a desperately barren group of women who insist shoving their agenda-stuffed hoo-has in our faces is for our own good. It's your fault you can't stand their stench. It's because of bigotry.
How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat? Okay.
Yes, that was a rhetorical question. What other reason would it be, they concluded, as their baffled leader sits scowling in our nation's Capitol building like a scene out of a Exulti commercial?
You try to put on a brave face, but inside the symptoms linger.
Could it have to do with the propping up of foreigners who support the literal enemy, reminding us every day that we're bad people?
There has been no oppression for the white man in this country.
That our very civilization is rooted in sin and needs to be eradicated? That we're
idiot. The only garbage I see floating out there.
Nazis and
a fascist.
If we don't march in line with their forced social suicide or appointing estrogen-infested TikTok types as their mouthpieces lecturing us that we're all genocidal slaveholders if we don't renounce our very existence as Westerners and let ourselves become conquered by terrorists. Maybe the left did themselves in partially by turning our classrooms into breeding grounds for mini Maoists to surround us with clenched fists, or by forcing little girls to undress with men.
And multiple other teachers came into the locker room and made the girls change.
Could it be the party of rebellion went full circle? And that an ideology as edgy and rebellious and free-spirited as the true definition of liberalism wouldn't require constantly rewriting our dictionaries and mandating obedience to it? How can you get another Obama girl when all your women are men?
58 of being a girl, and I just froze my sperm.
How can you be the party of sex, drugs, and rock and roll when you've all forcibly neutered and spayed us? Nah, that's not the problem the Democrats convinced themselves. They just needed a new logo and a new spokesperson.
I have raised over $11 million in the past year to support the future of our party because I don't just tweet.
In a way, he's a perfect representative because he can't encapsulate an entitled leftist any better than that. The left thought they had control of the American people forever. They had, let's just call it,
I want your job to be taken from you.
Strong encouragement by every Marxist-occupied institution, corporation.
They said I didn't fit in with their values of inclusivity, that they disaffiliated.
And entertainment industry. But they couldn't keep everyday Americans from eventually getting tired of becoming third world citizens. Yes, the popular culture party that deposed their addled mind leader at the whim of George Clooney and his buckets of Hollywood money doesn't even have a clue what pop star endorsements will bring leftism to relevance again.
All the machinations that got us there, that's all. None of that's going to be remembered.
The rock and roll rebellious image doesn't match the substance.
Don't make me feel this way.
In more ways than one.
Calling me a man over and over again. And I feel like that should be illegal.
Maybe it's best if they just leave. Right, Rosie?
When, it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back.
That wraps today's episode. Make sure you tune into my show every week where I bring you the left's most insane moments and expose their latest attempts to weaken the West. Then hit the like on YouTube, plus on Rumble, follow us on social media, comment below what you think, and don't cave to the leftist media agenda. If you like the work we do here at MRC, please consider donating at mrc.org/donate. It's the best way to help our movement. Thanks for joining us.